What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a Yankees Avenue live stream, a very special Yankees Avenue live stream because it is, of course, opening day eve. That is right, March 27th, 2024. How are we all doing? I know I'm doing good, which might surprise some folks, kind of. For those who follow me on Twitter, at Dan Allen Rourke, I ain't gonna go too far into this, but I feel like I should cover this just because some of you probably do follow me on Twitter. Yo, my Hyundai Sonata, I kind of wrecked it this morning. Now, I'll admit, straightforward, it was my fault, 100%. But real quick little story, and then we're going to get into a Yankees season preview. We got pretty much the entire roster to flesh out because it's basically finalized, and we had an awesome trade today that you may have heard of, may not have heard of by now. It's really exciting stuff. We'll get into that in just a moment. But yo, long story short, two-way lane. I'm at a stop sign, right? Two-way lane. I stop. This guy over here in the first lane of the two-way lane, he stops. He waves me through. He's like, yo, go ahead, buddy. I'm like, oh, sure, nice guy. It was like 7:30 in the morning. I was headed to the bus station to head on the bus to go into the city to go to the John Boy offices, right? Standard procedure, whatever. So I'm stopped at that stop sign. This dude stopped here, kind of like an awkward moment, like who's going to go, who's going to go. He waves me to go. He's like, go ahead, buddy. I'm like, all right, word. I'll go ahead. I went ahead, and my dumbass did not look in the second lane. Next thing you know, kabang, and that's what happened. Don't worry, though. We're all good. Not a scratch on me. And I'll have you guys know, the last time I was involved in a relatively serious car accident, not that this was serious, but, enough to where I take a picture of damage, was 2009. I think we all know what happened in 2009. So, with that out of the way, just want to make sure you guys know I'm all good. It was actually kind of a funny moment, if I'm being honest, because, all things considered, for, a pretty significant car crash, it was kind of a W. $500 for my insurance. They're taking care of it. We're all good. And the main W is that we got opening day tomorrow. In less than 24 hours, the Yankees will ideally be 1-0 in the season because at 4:10 Eastern Standard Time, they will be taking on Framber Valdez and the Houston Astros. Now, first things first, how are you guys doing? I'll be checking out the chat later on, after I get through my little segments, if you will, and we'll be kicking it for a good little while. Let's hang out. Let's talk some ball tonight because I'm chilling. Vibes are good. But first things first, let's get into the trade that the Yankees made today, and that is that they have acquired Jon Berti from the Miami Marlins. Now it is a 3-team trade that sends them Jon Berti, and in exchange they sent their number 28 prospect John Cruz to the Marlins, and also the legendary Ben Rortvedt is no longer in pinstripes. He gets sent to the Tampa Bay Rays. A lot of people are suspecting that he actually may end up being the Rays' starting catcher. Whatever, fine. A lot of jokes are like, oh, it's going to be so funny when he takes Garrett Cole deep, or he's going to, own the Yankees. Fine, that's cool, whatever. Ben Rortvedt, the Yankees, the way their bench was set up going into opening day, entering this morning, was that they were going to have 3 catchers on their roster. Austin Wells, Hoser Trevino, and Ben Rortvedt. They also needed an infielder. This trade solves both of those issues. You get rid of that third catcher, Ben Rortvedt, he's gone, and you bring in Jon Berti, who, guys, I'm not just being, as some would call Michael K, I'm not just being Yankee boy here, and Michael K is not a Yankee boy. People just mistakenly call him that. I am so beyond hyped for this acquisition, Jon Berti plays everywhere, shortstop, third base, second base, first base, and the outfield. He's quick as hell, led the National League in stolen bases in 2022 with 41 and only 102 games, which is even crazier. He's under control through 2025, so we get him for this season and next. He's 34 years old, by the way. And this dude, he's going to start at third base until DJ LeMahieu returns. Probably you figure he's going to start opening day tomorrow. But, once DJ's back, he goes to being a bench bat. And let me tell you, this improves the Yankees bench very significantly. Look at the stats he put up last year. 133 games, 294 average, 344 on base, 103 WRC plus. So he's an above league average hitter, 16 stolen bases. The past 2 seasons had a WAR over 2. The Yankees got this guy for their number 28 prospect, and he's going to be a big piece on their bench. I'm pumped for him. And this was a move that, I started to kind of lose hope that the Yankees were going to pull off because we kept hearing the Yankees' final bench piece is not on the roster. All throughout spring training, it was like the Yankees are going to make an external addition. The Yankees might go out and get Donovan Solano. The Yankees are looking to add another infielder. Well, shit, this is opening day eve. I started to lose hope, and I really started to believe, we're going to go into March 28th with 3 catchers on the opening day roster. Our bench was not looking strong. this changes that. The Yankees, I don't want to say get their guy, because that's something you say about like when they get Juan Soto, right? But this is the kind of move that if the Yankees were to win the World Series, you might look back at and be like, that was a winning acquisition. Going out and getting a guy like Jon Berti, and we're going to go over the lineup later, the rotation, the bullpen, and the bench. When you take a look at the bench, particularly once DJ LeMahieu returns, because then he'll take over at third base, Berti will go to the bench. This is the kind of move, a kind of supplemental move that drastically improves your roster that'll go underrated on the surface level. Because, it's not just about filling in for DJ for, 10 days to start out the season. Say Anthony Rizzo gets banged up, has to go on a 10-day IL stint. DJ slides over to first. This guy will now play third base instead of Oswaldo Cabrera. He basically, this is what this does. Instead of getting what was a 60 WRC plus from Oswaldo Cabrera last year, who I have hope will improve this season, but nonetheless, a 60 WRC plus from Oswaldo Cabrera in 2023. This guy's floor, I'm not even going to go at what his WRC plus was, Jon Berti, this past season, which was a 103, which is great. In this case, average, not just good, great. But 2022, 90 WRC plus. Even that off the bench compared to what Oswaldo Cabrera gave us last year or would have probably given us this year, being like the main fill-in guy, next man up whenever there's an injury. Huge. Absolutely huge. So I'm pumped about this deal. Once again, it is Jon Berti in a 3-team deal with the Rays and the Marlins for Ben Rortvedt and John Cruz. So good day today. Good day today, opening day eve. With that said, let's get into a little bit of a preview going into tomorrow. Now, I want to make sure real quick that I'm not just yapping my ass off without checking to make sure my audio is all good and that you guys can hear me. You guys got me, right? We're all, you hear me loud and clear? Yeah, Berti is 33. He's a veteran. Let me see here. You guys hear me all right? Word. All right, let's take a look at the lineup. Now, the way I did this lineup was not necessarily opening day, but just their main lineup entering the first week of the season, because we did hear some tidbits, some things like, one, Gleyber Torres is going to lead off. Boom. I expected that. That makes sense. We also heard that Jose Trevino is going to be starting because Framber Valdez, a lefty, is pitching for the Astros. More likely than not, Yankees are going with a straight-up platoon. Wells will play against righties, Trevino against lefties. So standard procedure will have Austin Wells in the starting lineup for the Yankees, and that's why we're looking at something like this until DJ LeMahieu returns. And I also included their projected WRC plus, by the way, on the right side. So that's what you're seeing there. Gleyber Torres, Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, Anthony Rizzo, Giancarlo Stanton, Alex Verdugo, Anthony Volpe, Austin Wells, Jon Berti. That is the lineup. Outside of, once again, Trevino is going to start in place of Wells tomorrow. That's what I want to see against Houston. Now, Stanton in the 5-hole, if you were to tell me that going into the season, I would have been like, that's not what we should do. I really wanted him at the minimum in the 6th spot. And once DJ returns and you bat him lead off and Gleyber 5th, that's probably what will happen. Stanton will drop to 6 or 7. But for now, I think it makes the most sense because against Framber, 1, he's a lefty. Stanton can still kind of hit lefties. And 2, if you look at the balance of this, it makes the most sense. I mean, you're not going to bat Alex Verdugo 5th back-to-back with Rizzo. And you're not going to bat Anthony Volpe 5th. So I think for now, with Gleyber leading off, no DJ, Stanton in the 5-hole makes the most sense. And speaking of those WRC pluses, I mean, take a look at them. If we were to get this, let's just say, and a lot of times projections are conservative. These are projections from Fangraphs. Gleyber Torres, 121. That would be a W. Juan Soto, 165. That's a W. Aaron Judge, 158. I mean, that's honestly his minimum floor. I expect it to be higher than that, but even so, 158, that'd be a W. Anthony Rizzo, 111, that's a bounce-back season. Giancarlo Stanton, 112, that'd be a bounce-back season. 106 from Alex Verdugo in the 6-hole from the left side while playing good defense in the corner outfield spots, W. Anthony Volpe going from what was this past year an 84 WRC plus as our shortstop. If he bumps it up to a 97, just below league average, that'd be a huge progression for him at just 22 years old, turning 23. Austin Wells, 96 WRC plus. Once again, these are obviously just projections. I don't want to talk like they're, set in stone, they're going to happen. But just theoretically, if this were to be the case, where the Yankees get a 96 near league average bat, WRC plus out of Austin Wells, their catcher, I mean, that's the best offensive production we've seen out of a catcher since Gary Sanchez. Which, say what you will about Gary. I mean, not saying the Yankees shouldn't have moved on, which, by the way, now that they got rid of Ben Rortvedt, that officially closed the chapter on the Josh Donaldson deal. Everything with that is now out the window. Donaldson's gone, IKF is gone, and now Rortvedt as well. But you can't dispute. I mean, Gary still was the Yankees' best. We haven't had an offensive catcher as good as Gary Sanchez since he departed. Now, Trevino, the glove, much better. And, for 6 weeks in 2022, he was a damn good hitter. But you look at his projections, Jose Trevino, it's right around an 80 WRC plus. Some have him even lower than that, right around a 70, which for those who are totally lost in all this, WRC plus league average is 100. So in this case, Trevino being at like a 70 or 75, let's say, that would put him at 25% worse than a league average hitter. Whereas, let's go with Gleyber Torres being at a 121, that would mean he'd be 21% better than a league average hitter. So, if we get anything close to that from Austin Wells, massive W. And then Berti at a 92, I'll take it. Once again, compared to if Waldo was starting, probably something much lower than that. I feel good about this lineup. I really, really do. And let's switch it over to the bench real quick. This is the bench going into opening day. Trent Grisham, Jose Trevino. Once again, Trevino will be starting opening day, but just whoever's not starting, backup catcher on the bench. Oswaldo Cabrera, Jahmai Jones. Now, Jahmai Jones, we're not going to go too in-depth about him. Plays second base, plays a little bit of outfield. He's only going to be on the roster until the return of DJ LeMahieu. So, probably going to see him for maybe 10 days or so, knock on wood. But, when this is all ready to go, come LeMahieu's return, a bench of Grisham, Trevino, Cabrera, and then Berti. Call me crazy, that's a championship caliber bench. It just is. I got a fat Diet Pepsi big gulp before this. It's a good bench. It's a good bench. So that's what's going into opening day tomorrow. And then once again, once DJ returns, Jahmai Jones will be smell you later. So that's our lineup. And I'm feeling pretty damn good about it. Even without DJ, that's a big, massive improvement over what we were running out there in 2023. The starting rotation. Of course, Nestor Cortes, he will be on the bump in the opener tomorrow, followed by, in Game 2, Carlos Rodon. Game 3, Marcus Stroman, who Stroman will also be pitching the home opener on April 5th against the Blue Jays. I will be in attendance for that. Hope to see a bunch of you guys there. Clark Schmidt, the number 4 starter, and then as we found out earlier this week, maybe it was late last week, Luis Gil won the number 5 spot. Now, of course, elephant in the room being we're missing Garrett Cole, expected to be out 1 to 2 months. We'll see what happens with that. Honestly, I'm being conservative with it. He could miss the whole first half as far as I'm concerned. Just get him back for the playoffs. Ideally sooner than that, but as long as we have Garrett Cole going into the playoffs, all things considered, when about 2 weeks ago I thought he might have a torn UCL, that would be a W. So, yeah, we might be without Garrett Cole for the first half. But let me know what you guys think. Is this rotation good enough to get us by? Me being an optimistic Yankee fan, I'll say yes. If Nestor Cortes is healthy, I'm not going to expect a 2022 performance where he had like a 2.5 ERA. But if he can pitch 5-6 innings each time out and pitch honestly even like to a 4 ERA, I consider that a success. Carlos Rodon, he looked great for the majority of spring training, did not finish too well. Was, pumping gas 95, 96, and then in his final outing, dropped it down to like 92, 93, got hit around a little bit. But overall, he looks much improved than what we saw last year. In much better shape as well. And, credit to him. Kind of in the same vibe in the way I talked about Giancarlo Stanton, about their mindset going into the offseason, into the new year. This dude had a shitty-ass season in 2023. And what did he do? Put his head down, and he pretty much worked his ass off to ensure a bounce-back season this year. Not saying we're going to get the Rodon of 2021 and 2022, which was one of the best pitchers in baseball, but at the very least, you can't expect another season where his ERA is near 7. I don't want to set the expectation of the mark at like, Rodon, give us a 4 ERA. I mean, I think that's even still too low of a goal for him to have. But first things first, let's pray that he's healthy. And that he could be a legitimate number 3 caliber starter for the Yankees. Anything above that would just be gravy, in my opinion. Especially if he can step up as a 1A ace or a number 2 type pitcher while Cole's out. That would be huge. But at the very least, give me a healthy season out of you, Rodon. An ERA anywhere from 3.5 to 4. Massive W, in my opinion. Just being honest. Stroman. I talked about this the other day. I consider Stroman to be probably the biggest lock for what you know you're going to get. I think you're going to get 27, 28 starts, 3.5 ERA. Lock it in. I've admitted I am a big-time phony. I used to hate this mother effer. I'm not going to lie. I would go at him. I'm blocked on, or I was blocked on Twitter. No longer blocked anymore. Still blocked on Instagram, which is a shame. But yo, the way this dude has embraced being a Yankee and how much you can tell he's enjoying wearing the pinstripes, it reminds me if I got the opportunity to play for the Yankees. You could tell who was a Yankee fan growing up, just like in terms of, I'm a baseball fan, local guy, sure, watch the Yankees, root for the Yankees. Stroman, though, you could tell there's something different about it. This dude always wanted to be a Yankee. He may have tried to hide it, may have tried to, shy away from it after the whole drama went down. 2019, trade deadline, was a Blue Jay, wanted to get traded to the Yankees. The Yankees said, you wouldn't be pitching in our playoff rotation, which, to be fair to Brian Cashman, was not that crazy of a statement at the time because you had Tanaka, you had Paxton, who was pitching real well at that point. You had Domingo Germán, who, before fucking beating his wife and getting a suspension, before that was, 18-game winner, was pitching damn well for the Yankees. And you also had Luis Severino coming back as well. So at the time, it made sense what Brian Cashman was saying. But of course, Stroman got all butthurt, ended up getting traded to the Mets. And, a lot of people were saying to him, or there was reports that came out that, saying what I'm saying now, that he wanted to be a Yankee, and then apparently he threw a tantrum in the clubhouse, blah, 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 came out and was like, I never wanted to be a Yankee, all my family was Mets fans, blah, blah, blah. And there's this whole big rift. You guys know the deal. But the opportunity presented itself this offseason for him to be a Yankee, and he jumped on it. In 2 years, $37 million for Stroman, who was in contention to start the All-Star game for the National League last year. I mean, he was a Cy Young candidate until, what was it? I think it was his hip. Feo, I don't know if you have the exact, what was it? He had a hip injury or something. His season kind of spiraled towards the end. But a healthy Marcus Stroman is one of the more reliable, one of the more consistent pitchers you can have in your rotation. And him as the number 3, I think he's a lock for a 3.5 ERA over 27, 28 starts. Very excited about him. Clark Schmidt, we'll see what we get. Is he going to be the guy that we saw from middle of May on? You'd like to think so. But there also could be, a little bit of regression. I'm not going to expect the world out of Clark. But the main thing out of him, as our number 4 starter, give us 30 starts again. If he can do that while being a decent pitcher, once again, even if he does put up another 4.5 ERA season, even if that's who he is true talent-wise, a 4.5 ERA pitcher, give me 30 starts, keep us in games. With this offense, we should be able to get by. Luis Gil, pumped about him, man. Talked with this the other day, tweeted about it. I think Luis Gil, watching him start, now that he's won the 5th spot, watching him start over the next couple months might be way more of a treat than just seeing a guy serviceably fill in Garrett Cole's absence. We're talking about a guy who has, as we know, electric stuff, has fixed his command big time. A couple years ago, that was his big issue. I mean, he's always been able to dial it up on the radar gun. Breaking stuff has always been nasty. He's always been a top prospect, but he always, typically would walk the world. That was not the case this spring training. He looks like a much improved pitcher. All guards are off following Tommy John surgery. The Yankees are apparently I don't want to say full throttle with him, but he's it's kind of all ready to go. So I'm pumped about Luis Gil in the 5 spot. I think it could turn into a thing where, every 5th day we're watching Gil pitch, it could be an electric vibe surrounding it. That's something we're really excited to watch every week. So rotation-wise, I think it's good enough to get us by until Cole comes back, assuming the offense performs up to expectations, which the offense should be really damn good. I don't know if I said it before. This is an offense that's not only going to be much better than what we saw last year. If certain guys click, and let me go back to this. If you get just one of the two, Anthony Rizzo and Giancarlo Stanton, to have a bounce-back season, that's all you need for this offense to be one of the best in the American League. And God forbid, for the rest of baseball, if you have both of them bounce back. Plus, Austin Wells putting anything up offensively near that projection, a 96 WRC plus out of the catcher spot, or second-year progression from Anthony Volpe. The floor of this offense is already a much improved lineup compared to last year. The ceiling, to be honest with you, I mean, this isn't a hot take because we have Juan Soto now. The best offense of the Judge era. The ceiling of this is. So knowing that and looking at this rotation, I think it hopefully, and maybe this is me being a little bit optimistic, I'll admit, the upside of this is strong. At the minimum, I think our offense is good enough to get us by, regardless. So, honestly, I'm feeling fine. If Cole were out the whole year and he did tear his UCL, I'd be feeling differently. But I think this rotation is enough to get us by, and the depth is there. I mean, something does happen to one of these guys, or say Heel doesn't pan out, and I'm wrong. You have Clayton Beater waiting in the balance. You have Will Warren, who up until the last week, he was in contention for the 5 job. Luke Weaver as well. So depth-wise, we're covered in the starting rotation. I'm feeling solid about it. The bullpen, this is something you always got to feel good about the Yankees going into the season with. Last year, led the American League in ERA, despite, there wasn't that many names in the pen. And, there were some injuries, some tough luck, I guess you could say. But it seems to be the one thing that's always a constant. And the one thing that I'll always give them credit for. Brian Cashman, the Yankees front office, they find no-name guys and turn them into high-end relievers. And there's a couple candidates in here that I think that you'll see. I mean, what we saw last year with Ian Hamilton, I could easily see that being the case with Nick Berti. And, Victor Gonzalez, he seems like a carbon copy of Wandy Peralta. His vibes are good. He's a lefty that pretty damn solid so far in spring training. Not that that means anything, but considering the deal that Wandy got with San Diego, a 4-year deal, opt-outs after each one, the Yankees going out and making pretty damn good trades with the Dodgers, getting Victor Gonzalez, who they also got Yorbit Vivas in exchange for their 2021 first-round pick, Trey Sweeney. Great deal. Phenomenal deal. They got Victor Gonzalez in that. W. Caleb Ferguson, kind of a last-minute deal before the end of the offseason. That was a big-time W. So, Wandy out, Ferguson and Gonzalez in. Feeling good about that. And, going back to Berti, this dude had a lot of hype going into spring training. Or the first when pitchers and catchers reported, it was like, this dude's stuff is nasty. He's throwing gas. He could be somebody to watch. And then in spring, watching him in games, he looked nasty. Made the team. Loaizaga, same old deal with him. Got to hope for health. I mean, 2021 was nasty. It was nuts. He was I think WAR-wise, he was like the best reliever in baseball, if you go by wins above replacement. But, 2022, injured. 2023, injured. Ideally, that's not going to be the case this year. The Yankees say that in an effort to avoid that, they're going to try to, while stretching him out to be like a 2-inning guy, they're going to give him kind of like a 1 or 2 day break minimum between outings. So, if he can stay healthy, I mean, Jonathan Loaizaga, that 2-seam fastball that he's got is one of the best in baseball. He should be a good reliever for the Yankees. But I will say, out of everybody on here, at least like the reputable guys, if you will, Loaizaga I'm the most concerned about. And I just realized I forgot the I between the S and the G in his name. I apologize. Ian Hamilton, stud. Clay Holmes, one of the most underrated closers in baseball. 100%. Happy birthday, Clay Holmes. I think it was his birthday today, by the way. Bottom line is the Yankees bullpen is never anything to worry about. Clayton Beater, he made the roster the other day. He looked good in spring training. He was also in contention for that fifth job. Be interesting to see how he looks out of the bullpen. Once again, all in all, this is an area where you trust the Yankees on. I think even the biggest pessimists in the world would trust the Yankees on their ability to form a bullpen. And not to mention, I mean, you go to the injured list, which we can look at. Oops. Do I have my IL in here? Yes, there we go. Injured list. You also have Scott Effross coming back at some point. He had, I believe it was back surgery. More so looking at the second half for his return. Tommy Kahnle, he was just a little bit behind in his in building up in spring training. Probably just be without him for a couple weeks. So you get him back. You'll have Effross waiting at some point. Lou Trevino, they also brought back. He could be an option down the line. And once again, there's probably guys that we're not even thinking of that at some point in the season, the Yankees will call up and be like, do this. Tweak your arm angle like this or whatever. The Matt Blake effect. And they'll turn him into one of the best relievers in the American League. Just honestly, that's a very good chance of that happening. A guy that we don't even, not even on our radar right now, ends up playing a huge role for us in the bullpen. So, all in all, feel good about where the Yankees are at pen-wise. The rest of the injured list, once again, DJ, going to start off the season on the IL. Shouldn't be that long of a stint. Oswald Peraza, he had the shoulder issue. They're saying, I think it was 6 to 10 weeks for him. Oscar Gonzalez, like 2 days ago in the finale against Mexico, he fouled the ball off his face. That sucks. He's going to be out for a little while. And, of course, Cole we talked about. Jason Dominguez. I mean, I'm so hyped right now. And I haven't even brought up the return of Jason Dominguez, which we're looking at probably June or July. But it's interesting with Jason because I don't think... Now, injuries could force their hand with this, and I don't want to say rush him back, but once he's healthy, what do the Yankees do? Because let's just say there's a world where, Verdugo, Judge, Soto, and Stanton are all healthy, right? Let's just say that that's the case when Dominguez comes back. what do you do? I mean, he's coming off Tommy John surgery. He is still just 21 years old. And while he wowed the shit out of us last year, 100%, that was a great 8 games. It was just 8 games. Like, it's not like a sure thing that you just plug Jason back in all of a sudden and he's just gonna start raking. Like, that's not a foregone conclusion. That's not a guarantee. So I would not be surprised once Jason is good to go, like, health-wise, which, it seems like he's progressing great. I mean, he was throwing in spring training. He was batting, I believe, from both sides of the plate in spring training. So he's progressing well. But I would not be surprised. Don't be shocked if the Yankees, once Jason is healthy, ready to go, he gets a month in AAA. That's honestly what I would expect. I would say Jason gets healthy. You plan on him being in AAA for 30 days. And then, maybe starts off cool, starts to find it, and then an injury will probably force their hand. But if everybody's healthy, they're not going to just force. Jason's not just going to force his way into the lineup just because he's healthy. I mean, he's still really young. Now, how he could get into the lineup as quickly as possible, his return, if Giancarlo Stanton does struggle looking for a bounce-back season and it kind of looks similar to 2023, if you get 2 months of 2023 Stanton and Jason comes back and he goes deep once in AAA, then look for him to start eyeing that DH spot. Jason will play a role this season for sure. Just watching some Stanton piss missiles now. I mean, I feel good about Giancarlo. I mean, it's that time of year, isn't it? It's opening day eve. Why would I not feel good? That's why I was talking to Joe's about this before. It's like, how could anybody not be hyped about their team right now? I was listening to WFAN the other day, my boy Keith, and this young little Mets fan called up, and he was great. Like, shout out to him. He was very, cohesive with his words, and, he made a lot of sense, and he was making good points for an 11-year-old kid. But he's a diehard Mets fan, and he predicts them to win 74 games. I'm like, it is not that time of year for that, brother. This is the time for optimism. This is the land of opportunity. This is the day, March 27th, opening day eve, where you predict Giancarlo Stanton to hit 40 home runs. You predict Anthony Rizzo to bounce back with the best season of his Yankee career. Which, Rizzo looked great in spring training. And so did Stanton. And by the way, remember, if you're there on the home opener, we're giving Giancarlo a loud-ass standing ovation. I won't go into the whole spiel again. This dude had the worst season of his career. And went to fucking work this offseason. Put his head down, and he's trying to have a bounce back. And you can tell he cares. And maybe I'm a sucker, sure. That means something to me. And I think we should show some appreciation for him. Especially considering how well he's handled New York. Ever since the day he got here. So let's show Giancarlo some love on the home opener and throughout this whole season. And we can't not talk about Juan Soto. I mean, he's been a Yankee for, 4 months now? December, January, February, March. 4 months now. So I guess we're kind of getting accustomed to it. I tell my dad this all the time. I was just telling him earlier. I don't think he, and some people are fully appreciating the difference he will make in this Yankees lineup. Maybe watching him in spring training did do that for some people. But him alone, outside of anything else that we mentioned, a bounce back from Rizzo, bounce back from Stanton, Volpe regression, Austin Wells giving us something out of the catcher spot. Just the addition of Juan Soto alone makes this lineup better times 3 compared to what it was last year. I mean, let's just say, God forbid, Judge does have another freak accident. You now have a 1A in Juan Soto, a guy who is just as good, basically, offensively, as Aaron Judge. We didn't have anybody that came close to Judge last year. And now with Soto, you insert one of the best hitters of all time. And that's not me being hyperbolic. Juan Soto, if you look at where he's pacing and what he's done before age 26, he is literally on pace to be one of the best hitters of all time. He's on pace to be a Hall of Famer, without question. And hopefully he'll do that as a Yankee. But for now, let's just enjoy 2024. And in part, I'm excited about the fact that he's only here for 1 year because the Yankees have to go all in. Now, on the topic of that, some might say, well, they didn't go out and get Jordan Montgomery. They didn't get Blake Snell. I'm over that, to be honest. With Snell, they offered him $150 million. They did. And he said no. They pivoted to Stroman. Fine, whatever. Cool. With Monty, I mean, all reports say, and I was actually kind of wrong because earlier on I would say, I was saying how there wasn't much bad blood between Monty and the Yankees, and that was something that I read. Apparently there was. He didn't want to come back here. And I can't really blame him. He got a deal, $25 million a year, which crazy deal. I mean, the fact that he only got, what was it in the end, like with the vesting, 50 guaranteed, still pretty crazy. Dude is not a New York guy. I mean, just look at him. Jordan Montgomery belongs in heat. He belongs where there's like barbecue. He belongs where, I don't know, you can be on a farm, not in like New York City. So it made sense that he wasn't coming back here. The Yankees showed interest, fine, whatever. 2024, and it'll be interesting to see how they treat the trade deadline. We got to be all in, because as for now, Juan Soto's here for just 1 year. Haven't talked too much about the addition of Verdugo, which can't undersell him, man. I mean, another supplemental move that drastically changes where we were last year to where we are this year. I mean, even if he does what he put up last year in Boston, which was kind of a down year for him, a 98 WRC plus, that compared to what Jake Bauers gave us last year, or Billy McKinney. Actually, I'm not going to roast Billy McKinney. He was actually pretty serviceable for us when he filled in last year. The defense that Verdugo provides, lefty stick, seems to have really good vibes too. This will be good. This will be good. We got ourselves a lineup, folks. We got ourselves a nice lineup that we'll be able to turn on the Yes Network every single night. Well, tomorrow and then Apple TV on Friday. That we can be excited about. This is a representable New York Yankees team. Let's do it. 4 o'clock tomorrow. 4 o'clock tomorrow. So that's where we're at, folks. That is where we are at. Let me take some questions from you guys, or just some comments. Let me pull it up on my end over here, and then I'm going to take a big fat sip of my Diet Coke. And yo, by the way, reminder that tomorrow at 4 o'clock, we are doing a watch party on this channel. Let me see if I have... Do I have the thumbnail up here? No, that's the Sonata. Not that this matters all that much to show you the thumbnail. But when you see this and it's 4 o'clock, actually 3:30 because we'll go a little bit earlier, click on that shit. We're watching the game live together, and it's going to be a blast. Now, it's opening day. I always got to have a couple sodas. So, we'll be chilling. We'll be having a good time. Let's just say that. I also, forewarning, kind of, I'm running Yanks Ave while we are doing this watch party tomorrow. So, I'll have my 3 screens up. I'll have this TV, or this laptop that I'm streaming off of now. I'll have my other monitor over here that's recording the game for the YouTube highlights, and then I'll have this computer right here recording for Instagram and Facebook highlights. So I'll kind of be like working the game while watching it, but don't worry, it's going to be like, I'm not want to use the word lit, but, you know. Vincent Sarossi, hope I'm saying your name right, bro, says, record prediction. Oh, I love that question. I'll tell you first, it's going to start with a 9, but it's not going to finish with an AL East victory. I am not predicting, for the first time probably ever, at least in the Judge era, since 18 at least, I don't have them winning the division. I have them winning the wild card. I have the Baltimore Orioles finishing first. And that's fine. Kind of shout out to the Diamondbacks, because Yankees Twitter dropped the official hype video, Dan. Word. I'll check that out in a minute. Maybe I can even play it on... Actually, no, I probably shouldn't play it on here because then I get copyrighted. I'm going to go 95 and 67. They'll finish like 2 or 3 games out of the AL East. It will be a race to the very end. But they'll finish a wild card team and they'll make it to the World Series. And then once you're in there, anything can happen. Let's see here. Shout out from California. Yo, shout out to you, Karaoke. I'm going to California actually in a couple of weeks. We're doing a Baseball Today episode live in a bar in LA, which is sick. So I'm hopping on a plane, like my 3rd flight ever. Kind of nervous because planes these days are not all that reliable, it seems. How about that fucking boat the other day, by the way? That was crazy. Sam G says, we actually have a real left fielder this season. Bro, facts. Gonna be huge. And yo, if you're in here, do me a favor, drop a like on this video, by the way. Drop a like. Matthew Walkman says, with Cole out, who is your AL Cy Young favorite? Interesting. I guess I'll take a generic MLB question. I usually like to stick Yankees, but Cy Young favorites. Well, nobody in the AL East. I'm going to kind of hop on the Trevor Plouffe bandwagon from Baseball Today's episode from earlier and go with Luis Castillo. Ooh, I like this question. Dylan Hibbard says, what would be an ideal stat line for Nestor tomorrow? All right, let's put in some reasonable expectations here. Reasonable expectations. His pitch count is up to, I believe, right around 90, so you figure he's not going to go all that deep. I think, dude, to be honest, 5 innings, 3 runs. 5 innings pitched, 3 earned runs. I would take that at Nestor tomorrow. Really, anything 3 runs, because our offense is good enough to where I think we'll be just fine. That's kind of the vibe I have for this whole season. Not expecting too much out of the starting rotation, but enough to get us by with how good this offense should be. Granted, they've never really hit Framber, but you also know who's never faced? Who Framber has never faced in the Yankee uniform? Juan Soto. More to bro. SO says, Judge or Soto for MVP? Easy question, Aaron Judge. I love Soto a lot. He's almost as good of a hitter as Aaron Judge is, but when you go by player-wise and in fact in the defense that Judge, Jesus Christ, the defense that Judge provides, especially playing center field, I'm going to go with Judge. And I'll tell you what, if the Yankees were smart enough to bat Soto third behind Judge, Judge would flirt with Barry Bonds' home run record. Just saying, but it's all good. Let's see here. Score prediction for tomorrow? That's tough. Score prediction's hard in baseball, but I'll go with 7-3 Yankees. 7-3 Yankees. 6 innings, 3 runs would be good. Yeah, that'd be dope. I'd be happy with that. I'm not gonna lie. Tomorrow in particular, I am a little bit nervous about Nestor, but I think that much is because he's never thrown an opening day before, and coming off last year, I mean, I do get nervous about his shoulder, but if he's healthy, it's hard not to remember that the last time we saw him pitch was against Houston, and he was dealing, and he was throwing like 96. Remember that game at home against Houston at Yankee Stadium? That was probably the best you ever saw Nestor Cortez look, and then the shoulder thing happened, and we never saw him again. But yeah, that would be a W. 6 innings, 3 runs, hell yeah. Worky Felix says, good job, bro. Keep it for keeping it real from Dominican Republic, excuse me. Hell yeah, thanks, bro. I appreciate it. Let's see. Giancarlo Stanton over under plus 0.5 more than Rizzo. Plus half what, Faye? Are you talking like a hit? I say Glaber hits a leadoff homer. That would be dope. Yo, Sadashi, I love you too, bro. Let me get back to my screen here. A healthy Loaiza could slide into the closer role as well. I mean, a healthy Jonathan Loaiza has good enough stuff to be a closer for sure. But like, let's not undersell Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes has legitimately been one of the best closers in baseball since the Yankees acquired him in mid-2021. And unless he gets hurt or has a dramatic fall off, there's no reason to think that we got to have somebody else close. Home runs. Okay, Giancarlo Stanton over under 0.5 home runs more than Anthony Rizzo. You're saying for the season? I'll assume you're saying for the season. Now, of course, as you know, we got to factor in the health side with Giancarlo. That's half the question. I'd go with... Here's the thing. I see Giancarlo Stanton, and this is kind of the optimistic take, but like 2021 Stanton, I feel like, is like the ideal season for modern Giancarlo. Played majority of the year, did have an IL stint, kept him out for like 10, 15 days, but he still ended up playing like 130-something games, hit 35 bombs. I think at the minimum, and I'm getting to an answer here, Faye, I'm kind of just processing it out in my head. Stanton is going to hit 30-plus homers this year. I also see Rizzo having an IL stint at some point, which we can handle with Nick Berti now being on the roster. And also, don't forget Ben Rice. Do not forget Ben Rice, who's in the minor leagues, raked at pretty much every level last year. He plays first base. He plays catcher. Somebody very excited about we could see this year if Rizzo goes down at some point, knock on wood. I'm going to go with Giancarlo Stanton, Feo. I'm going to go with Stanton. I think Stanton finishes with like 31, 32, 33. Rizzo, while having a bounce-back year overall, I say high 20s. Rizzo will eclipse 20. I don't think he'll eclipse 30, at least if I were to predict it. I go with Stan. Good question. Stan, comeback player of the year. Yo, Mad Dog 28, it is very plausible. I'd say he's one of the candidates that you kind of focus on as being like an option to watch as who could win that award. Giancarlo Stan. Hey, Carlos Rodon too. But I like that pick, dude. I like that pick. Tom Odlin says, or Odlin, excuse me. Dan, you talked about quite a few players expected to have bounce-back seasons. Who are you the most confident in absolutely having a huge turnaround? Oh, I love the question. Let's see. If I had to pick one player guaranteed to turn shit around, put my life on it, Rizzo. With how good he looked in spring training, knowing the year he was having before the Tatis whiplash incident. I mean, we all know the deal. He was on pace to have one of the best years of his career. I mean, he was phenomenal. in the first month and a half of the season. Clanks his neck against Tatis, shit goes downhill. But the fact that he looks as good as he did in spring training, pretty much on par with what he was looking like the first couple months of last year, and also what he looked like Anthony Rizzo. Knowing that and seeing that, I'm assuming Rizzo is back. I'm going about my day assuming Anthony Rizzo is Anthony Rizzo. Stanton, I'm not there just yet, because to be, fair, a lot of the home runs Stanton hit were off of like 90-mile-an-hour fastballs and breaking balls. That's not his problem. His problem last year was hitting fastballs, hitting the high cheese, especially from right-handers. Once I see Stanton turn on a 97-mile-an-hour fastball from whoever the hell, some dominant electric right-hander, that's where I might have to come on here with a live stream call. Giancarlo Stanton is back. Or maybe we'll just be watching the game live. But no, good question, dude. I'm going with Rizzo. I could probably even order it, like all the bounce-back candidates. Hopefully I'm not missing any. And DJ's up there, too, as a bounce-back candidate. I'd go probability to bounce back. Rizzo, Rodon, Stanton, DJ. And I'm particularly optimistic about Rizzo, Rodon, and cautiously optimistic about Stanton. DJ, you look at DJ's season last year, and a lot of people bring up the 800 OPS he had in the second half, which, I'm all about doing shit like that. Narrative that's what we do. A lot of that stems from, at least on the power side, he had like 2 really good series where he had like multi-homer games. He had the series in Tropicana, remember that? Where he had I think it was 3 homers in one series, 2 in one game. He also had a really good series against Detroit that kind of inflated the slugging in the second half. The positive thing about DJ from the second half last year that I paid most attention to, the OBP, I think he had in July, August, and September, all 3 of those months, his OBP was above 340, respectively, in those months. That's the main thing I'm looking for DJ. Just get on base. Because if he's going to bat and lead off, that's really not all you can ask, but it's the minimum you can ask. You have to ask. I don't need power. I don't even need, I don't care if he bats 300. If he hits 260, whatever. But if you give me an OBP above 340, I'll consider that a pretty massive bounce back for DJ. A solid bounce back that I'd be happy with. And of course, that with that you assume comes like a WRC plus that's league average. And I'm sure he will hit for some power. I mean, he hit 50 home runs last year. If he does that again, fine. But so Rizzo for sure. Rodon, I'm feeling good about being. I mean, it's hard not to feel with Rodon he's going to improve significantly, but a 5-year array would technically be a significant improvement. So he kind of, tough to say with him, but I feel good about Rodon as well. Let's see here. Great channel, Dan. Oh, I lost your comment. Oh, here we go. Great channel, Dan. Keep working, bro. Appreciate you, Chase. You're a good dude. Are you confident with Nestor to pitch well against a stacked Astros lineup on opening day? I'm nervous about it, like I was saying, but opening day eve, so got to be optimistic. What do you think about Beater in the bullpen? I'm curious about that. I don't really have an opinion, honestly, on it. I just have to see him pitch. Let's see. Charles Jansen says, Dan, before the dynasty started, it was 15 years since the last title. This year is 15 since the last title, too. All right, I'll take it, bro. I'll take it. Feo says, my father posed the idea that we develop Spencer Jones as a first baseman in the minors, then 2 years from now replaces Rizzo, then he eventually swaps back to outfield with Judge. Thoughts? I mean, Feo, it's a good point by him, because you look at the future of the Yankees outfield, which any optimistic Yankee fan or rational Yankee fan at this point would like to assume Soto's a part of that. So, Judge and Wright, Soto and Wright, Judge in left, Dominguez in center. Judge is probably going to end up converting to a full-time left fielder, and we'll see that a lot this season, by the way, especially when Trent Grisham starts. But anyways, the future of the outfield, Judge, Dominguez, Soto. That being the case, where does Spencer Jones fit in? So I'm with you, Feo. I would start getting him worked out at first base right away. Right away. I would have him start games there this year in the minor leagues. So I agree with your dad, 100%, or what you said to your dad, or your father posed the idea. Good question. Volpe 2030. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, dude, with Volpe, I really am focusing on the WRC plus getting close to 100. Whether that comes with power or more likely, and what I'm really hoping for is obviously the average going up, but going back to the OBP thing, you cannot have an OBP of 283. There is no world where Anthony Volpe has what we consider a successful sophomore season if his OBP does not start with a 3. And that's the minimum. I'm thinking like get that shit up to 320. And then, if you hit 15 home runs, fine. But the two main areas you look at, and the one in particular, average and then OBP. And with that, stolen bases, he'll be at least 20. Probably could get to 30. The WAR will be around 3 with the defense that he has. And he looks jacked, by the way. Spring training, he definitely looks like he put on some pounds. So the arm strength you figure will probably increase a little bit, which has really been his only issue at short. Not an issue, but the only thing he could really improve on. I think it's a guarantee we're going to get an improved Anthony Volpe in 2024. I'm curious what that means, though, and I hope that means an increased OBP, mainly. Good question, though. Let's see here. Soph Dog, cheers from Down Under Dan. Keep those sweet YA highlights packages coming. They are artworks. Appreciate you, yo. Hell yeah. Jesse Patterson, what up, Jesse? How you doing, man? Jesse's always been around. Been around for a while here at Yanks Ave. I'm excited to see Judge, Soto, and Stanton destroy the ball this year. Hell yeah, bro. Me too. You're damn right. Sam G says, Dan, how warm is Boone's seats? I don't think it's that warm. At least not right now. I would say... Thing is, his contract is up after this year, right? Because 2021 after that, he signed an extension, 3 years, 22, 23, 24. Yeah, and I think they may have an option, but if they were to miss the playoffs after this year, I would think he'd be legitimately on the hot seat. But I said that like at the trade deadline last year, if they missed the playoffs, that I think Boone would get fired, and I was obviously wrong. So, and I like Boone, by the way. I don't want him to go anywhere. What are my thoughts on Pat's tweet earlier today? Anything I would say probably already has been said. Listen, I love Pat, and I may even call him soon because that shit were happened to me, bro. I would not be doing all that well. That's the shit with Pat I'm just not a fan of, is the negativity. But we all kind of know that. We all have our flaws, if you will. I have mine. I didn't like that tweet. I've tweeted out stupid shit myself before. Going to Volpe and having him try to autograph that shit, I wouldn't have done it. I think it was pretty freaking stupid. But what am I going to say that other people haven't already said? Ben Heitkamp, what player will you miss the most from last year? I mean, bro, who is there to miss from last year? What were our subtractions? Let me go to my boy, the Yankee Report, and check out because he always does his season previews are good, and he always has subtractions. So we lost, and I'll just go through them here. Wandy Peralta, Michael King, Kyle Higashioka, Luis Severino, IKF, Keenan Middleton, Frankie Montas, and Domingo Germán. Michael King, number 1 on that list. Volpe highlights over. Let's put on some Judge. King, number 1. Severino from a love factor, not so much as a player, because obviously, he regressed significantly last year, but looking good in spring training. Hope he does well. Then Wandy. Higgy's cool too, but definitely Michael King and Sevy. For sure. Yeah, you guys are right. Excuse me, my bad. Are they still on pause? Oh, weird. Thank you, Ethan. Yeah, no, I had to remind myself that we lost Michael King. I'm sorry. I moved on quite quickly to the new girlfriend in Juan Soto. Evan O'Dowd says, Dan, thank you so much for following my account, Pinstripe Pantheon. I got you, bro. That made my week. Yo, stop. Appreciate you, bro. You do good stuff. And I saw I think you commented on my personal, too. Appreciate that. Playboy, Dan, let's Evan go opening day tomorrow. Bro, you know it. And we'll be here, remember. Once again, on Yanks Ave. 4, or sooner than that. First pitch is 4 o'clock. We'll be here at 2:30 for the whole game, maybe a little bit afterwards. Not so much afterwards. I'll have to do highlights, but we'll be kicking it. We'll be chilling. We'll be hyped up. I may even put on some eye black. Nicholas Termini says, Carlos Rodon, Severino, Stanton, and Rizzo combined for negative 2.1 WAR. Yes, they did. The Yankees immediately improved the team by doing nothing. There's no way these guys can be worse. Phenomenal point by you, Nick. Phenomenal point by you. 100%. And it doesn't even have to be... Well, Severino, of course, he's not on the team anymore, but you could look at that compared to what he was last year to not having him this year, addition by subtraction. But you're 100% on the money, dude. Nestor has to be better. Rodon has to be better. Stanton, you figure, will be better. And Rizzo, as I said before, a lock to be better. Also, seeing you more on John Boy made me happy as F. You moving up. I appreciate that, bro. What, Blitzball you're talking about? Blitzball's cool. I can't wait for BB5. I won't talk about that too much on here because like a Yankees thing, but trust me, dude. Being in the warehouse is one of my favorite things like about life. Mike King, I will miss. Yeah, dude. No, I'm with you. And Wandy. Wandy, I'll miss. But I like Wandy. I was ready to move on from him pretty soon this offseason because it was quite clear, especially once we got Victor Gonzalez, that we could find somebody honestly just as good without having to give him a 4-year deal. Because you look at what Wandy put up last year, while his ERA was solid, he regressed kind of significantly from 22 to 23. We'll put on let's do some Glaber. You look at the walks per 9, he actually had a negative WAR. Going back to what I said earlier, I think Wandy out, Caleb Ferguson, Victor Gonzalez in. When it comes to the lefties in the Yankees pen, I think we took a big W this offseason. Feo says, Yankees have a team option for Rizzo for next year. If he returns to form, they can use it to get Jones another year of development if they go down that path. Yeah, I anticipate Rizzo's option will be picked up. And this all just stems from, where I feel Rizzo is at entering this season, that he's going to have a big bounce back. And I believe, Feo, what is his option? Is it 20 mil? Or is it like 17? Why is that coming to my brain? Let's see. Give me the spot track. Let's go to spot track. Let's see here, folks. 17. Yeah, see, like weird little numbers will just click in my head because I probably looked at it before. So, 17 mil for Rizzo next year. If Rizzo puts up a 115 WRC plus this year and finishes the year healthy, I say it's a lock for that option to be picked up. Although, I'm not going to get into this too hard right now because this is an off-season topic. There is that first baseman from Korea that hits fucking nukes, I think. RJ Shea, what up, bro? RJ Shea is the man. I went to high school with RJ Shea, played baseball with RJ Shea. One of the coolest MFers I know. Shout out to you, bro. I'm glad to see you're doing well, too. I see your stuff all the time. You're the effing man. I love you, dude. Just glad to see you're doing great things, Dan. Keep it the work. Let's go, Yanks. Hell yeah, let's go, Yanks. I know you'll be watching tomorrow, RJ. Oh, Charlie Jordan says, Dan, rank your top 7 current Yankees. Love this question. Oh, I love this question. Okay. I'm gonna go by favorite because that makes it a little more interesting. Like my personal favorite Yankees. Okay. Number 1, Aaron Judge. Number 2, Clay Holmes. No, excuse me. Number 2, Garrett Cole. Number 3, Clay Holmes. Number 4, Giancarlo Stanton. See, Soto's tough, by the way, for those who are thrown off why I haven't mentioned Soto. Like he's still kind of... How would I word this? He's still new. Like, I gotta, Soto's not, I love Soto to death. He's not my guy yet. He's gonna be my guy in about 24 hours, but I have to, it's like we haven't even smooched yet, me and Soto. You know what I'm saying? We just, talked over Tinder, in spring training. Judge, Cole, Holmes, Stanton, Rizzo. Let me look at the rotation. Stroman honestly could contend, but once again, he's a little bit too new. And then would I do... I'm just not going to rank anybody new on this yet, because that just feels like not right. Judge, Cole, Holmes, Stanton, Rizzo, Glaber. Who would be the number 7? I love all of them. I really, really do. I mean, if you're a Yankee, you could be freaking... Look at the IL, too. Not the bench. The IL, damn it. Let's see. I like DJ. I'm trying to think. I want to get this right. I love Volpe a lot, too. You know what? Considering the circumstances today, I'll put Volpe at number 7. But that's just me. It's like trying to pick your favorite kid, I guess. Soto already a top 3 favorite. That makes total sense. I just don't want to, you know what I'm saying? I just didn't want to pick anybody new, to be fair. Because I got to get, attached to him, which I am attached to Soto, don't get me wrong, but I think you guys catch my vibe. Glaber. Glaber was number 5. And I knew Glaber would be in there. It was just a matter of, making sure I get the rankings properly. Which, to finalize that, it was Judge, Cole, Clay Holmes. Big fan of Clay Holmes. Have been for a while. Also, I met him through, if you count meeting somebody over Zoom as meeting somebody, over Towing the Slab, he's dope. Judge, Cole, Clay, Stanton, Rizzo, Glaber, Volpe. Canley's cool, but like he's a reliever. Granted, Clay Holmes is a reliever, and he's like my number 3, so that was not an accurate statement by me. Didn't make any sense. All right, yo. I used to love LeMahieu. Bro, I still love DJ. DJ's the man, and I like that he's like kind of all business and all he cares about is baseball. And the fact that he's on the IL right now, maybe that like lowers him just a little bit. But no, he's up there. He was in contention for the number 7 spot. Roki Sasaki signed with the Yankees next offseason and re-signed Soto. Mad Dog, I like what you're thinking, but I very much am on like the train of after Yamamoto, I just feel like all of them are going to the Dodgers. And I kind of like, if I were pessimistic in one area regarding like the Yankees, it's like suddenly their ability to, not their ability, but like, no, yeah, kind of their ability to get foreign players. I don't have as much hope anymore about getting like a guy like Sasaki after what happened with Yamamoto. That bummed me out not getting Yamamoto. That sucked. That was like that was the first like, I'm going to call it devastating moment of the season. But like, that was a punch in the gut. I think we'd all agree. How come you don't make hype videos anymore? Bro, it's tough with the hype videos because give me a player you guys want me to put on here on the screen, by the way. Well, let's do some Rizzo. The hype videos I love making, and shit, maybe I'm going to be up real late tonight. Maybe I'll try to cook something up. I'll tell you this. If I'm ever going to do a highlight video again, which I want to, but it's like back then I was in high school and shit, like it's tough because I edit now as a full-time job plus this. So it's like, it's just kind of hard, I feel like, to fit into the schedule. But I'll tell you, if I was to ever, and I think I will at some point, make a highlight video again, it would 1,000% be a new edition of the Empire Strikes Back video that I did in 2020. I'll watch that back now, and I'm not tooting my own horn because it's the Yankees that create this emotion and the Star Wars theme music that create this emotion. That brings tears to my eyes. When the Jeter shit comes up, where, you know, that quote of whatever the hell he said, I forget exactly what it was. I don't forget, but it's slipping my mind. What does he say? There are a few things with the New York Yankees that never change. That's pride, tradition, and most of all, we are the greatest fans in the world. And then the bass drops from the Star Wars theme. Aaron Hicks hits the 3-run bomb off Justin Verlander, and like it, honestly, it makes you tear up a little bit. So if I were to do one again, it would be that vibe. Yo, look that up if you haven't seen it already. That shit, not like tooting my horn once again. It's just like the Star Wars music plays well with Yankees baseball. Bronx Bander, what up, my bro? How you doing, man? Hype for the watch party? My man, hell yeah. All right, we're going to take a couple more here, and then, let's see. Oh, who's texting me? Oh, hell of shit. When can still come about to finish stream. So let's go to my boy Hunter's in a bit for a little pre-opening day celebration. Making sure he's not flaking on me. But yeah, let's take a couple more in here, and then we'll probably bounce. Going for a little bit here. Mad Dog 28 says Ian Hamilton is going to be a key part of the bullpen, 100%. Sam G, could you imagine if we had Yamamoto and him getting shelled in his first game, this fan base would be in shambles? Oh, 100%, dude. I'd be nervous myself. I mean, not just because of that first start, but his spring training wasn't good. And like, I remember Tanaka's first like batter he faced in the big leagues, I think took him deep. I think it was Melky Cabrera in Toronto took him deep. The game I tried to DVR that I talked about. I remember like finding out about that and I was like, oh shit, this could get bad. But then it settled down quite quickly. So I'm not going to like say the jury's out on Yamamoto. He's a bust. But the start definitely not ideal. And I'd be tweaking myself a little bit. I'd be nervous. But it could settle down so quick. I mean, if Yamamoto comes out and throws like 6 innings, 1 run, or even like 5 innings, 1 run, or 2 runs next time out, people will calm down pretty quickly. Vincent Sirachi says, if you had to choose any Yankee player from past years to be on this team, who is it? Oh, I love this question. It's so hard. They were talking about this on the K show the other day. It was a pick somebody from the core 4 to be on the team, which in that case, core 4 specifically, I would probably go not Jorge, who I love, and I definitely would have put on the last couple seasons, but having Austin Wells, I kind of hope that like he'll somewhat fill the void of being like a good offensive catcher. So not Jorge. Volpe I love to death, and I have high hopes for his progression, so I'd keep him at short. Let me put on some Wells highlights. Probably Mo. But again, Prime Jeter would be pretty nuts. And then Andy too. But if we're going all time, or just like from my lifetime, any player, Alex Rodriguez to play third base. without question. Let's see here. Shava Shapiro says, when Jason Dominguez comes back, Yankees trade Alex Verdugo for power reliever David Bednar when... Nah. Appreciate the question, bro, but one, the Pirates would not trade David Bednar, regardless of where they are in playoff contention, for Alex Verdugo, who's a free agent at year's end. That wouldn't make sense for where they're at in their... or really at any point for a team that's still kind of rebuilding and is looking towards the future. Even if they are in contention this year, wouldn't make sense to give up anybody for 1 year Alex Verdugo, let alone their closer who they could get a pretty good haul of prospects back for. Appreciate the question, though. Matthew Walkman says, favorite Yankee game memory? Mine has to be being in attendance for Jeter's 3,000th hit. Favorite game in person? Well, I'll tell you, I have two. One is an actual answer. Judge, 2-run shot against the A's in the Wild Card game 2018. That was badass. One of the best moments of my life. One of the worst moments of my life at the time, because I'm a big A-Rod fan. I show up for his 3,000th hit game against the Tigers. I think it was like June 19th, 2015. We were running late as shit, and I'm panicking. Like, convinced, all right, we're not going to make it. And then start to pick up, might get there in time. Yeah, word, all right, I think we'll be all right. Shit freezes up again. We're slowing down. We're late. As I fucking step in Yankee Stadium, Alex Rodriguez is up at the plate. You hear the crack of the bat. Crowd roars. Of course, we all know the deal. Takes Justin Verlander deep. I did not see my favorite player, even though I was in the building, hit his 3,000th hit for a home run. I heard the roar of the crowd. I heard, A-Rod, the whole fucking deal. Curtain call and all that. I was so pissed. I wanted to die. Chalice Sheen with a $5 donation. Appreciate you, bro. Damn, all right, I see you. As well as looking great this spring, not to be slept on this season. Yo, fair point. As much like, not that I was talking shit about Waldo, but like, Hunter, what the hell? Hunter did flake. It is kind of late. What's been called? Waldo, the last couple weeks of the season, spring training, did look a lot better. Couple multi-hit games, couple of home runs. I'm excited about Waldo. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he was bad in 23, but like 22, he looked good. In the minors, he hit good. He's had stretches before, and there was a point, I think, in 23, like a week or two, where he was fine. So, I mean, obviously the potential's there. I'm not going to get my hopes up like all that high, because it's not like he was ever like a big-time top prospect. But do I think he could be better than a 60 WRC plus that he had last year? For sure. And the last couple weeks of spring training was exciting. Let's see here. Yeah, right, Feo Tickle Hunter. What the hell? I hope he's watching this. All right, let's do a couple more here, because I think instead I'll probably end up going to the gym first. Well, not first. The only thing I'll be doing now. Aaron Judge says, I will watch the game tomorrow. All right, you'll be playing in it too, Judge. Let's see. Ooh. Yeah, Soph Dog said the same thing. Wells, Rookie of the Year. I like it. I like the idea. Sure. I was going to think of like other candidates. I'm thinking back to baseball today earlier. Plouffe picked Jackson Holliday in the AL. Rose picked Evan Carter of the Rangers. Rookie of the Year is kind of an overrated award anyways. Just kidding. All right, let's do like two more here. Connor Felon says, do you think Spencer Jones will be called up this season? I think Spencer Jones will be performing at a level good enough to where there could be speculation that he gets called up. But if you look at how many outfielders the Yankees have, a lot would have to go wrong, which very well could happen, knock on wood, for that to happen. I mean, you're looking at like a significant Judge injury, Stanton going down. Because you got to think, I mean, we have Trent Grisham waiting, ready to go. Waldo obviously is in the depth chart when it comes to the outfield. And then when Jason comes back, like, he's ahead of Spencer Jones. So I just don't think the circumstances will line up for Jones to get called up this year. But, I mean, you look at where he's at, the fact that he's starting the season in Double-A, being optimistic in the way he looked in spring training, you think he's going to rake. Being a college athlete, drafted at Vanderbilt, he's 22 years old now, 23? Like, he's at that age where he could get called up at any point this year. I don't think it's in the cards, circumstances-wise, considering where, like, the roster's at, which is a good thing. That is a good thing. Like, we don't want to have to rely on, call up your first-round pick from 2 years ago to save the season. I don't think we'll need to do that this year, which is good, because we got Verdugo. And, don't sleep on Trent Grisham either. I mean, not that he's going to blow your socks off or nothing, but him being the Yankees' backup center fielder, backup outfielder, like, that is a massive upgrade over what we had last year. You know what I'm saying? So, but good question, though. let me get rid of sorry, I went black. Adam Stern says, if we lose Rizzo, do you think Ben Rice takes his spot? I was saying that earlier. I think if he gets hurt, if Rizzo gets hurt, he's somebody that we could look at as a potential option to replace him if he's still ranking the way he did last year in the minors. All right, let's take like one more here. One more. The lineup card submitted. Nody is going to hit different tomorrow. Iced out. You're so right, bro. You're so right. Here, I'll give you guys a little Yanks Ave preview. So I have my pregame ready for tomorrow. Now the picture is not the picture that I'm going to use, but everything else is set up. Oh, Diet Coke's fucking banging. This is the format we're going with this year. It's similar. It's the same like layout that I had last year, but I updated it to like a nice like navy blue accent. Let me make sure I can see it on my shit. This is what we're working with. Can you see that? This is what it's going to look like. Oh, it's kind of... There we go. So the Judge picture will be different. That was him in LA last year. The last pregame before he got hurt in 2023 picture. But that will be it. So that'll be tomorrow. Yo, for anybody who's on here that doesn't follow Yanks Ave on Instagram and whatnot, do me a favor and go ahead and follow Yanks Ave. All right. Sergio says, nice to see Dan on a Wednesday night. Hell yeah, and you're going to see me on a Thursday afternoon into evening tomorrow for the watch party. Once again, tomorrow, probably around 3:30, we'll be live before the Yankees and Astros game. Then we'll watch the game together. We'll be kicking it. And yeah, that'll be that. Yep. All right. Guys, I think that's going to do it for this one. Had a blast chilling with you guys tonight. Dan, what was your favorite Yankee home run from 2022? The best season from recent memory. My favorite home run probably of all time, Judge's walk-off against the Blue Jays. That was fucking awesome. Badass. But yo, that's going to do it for this one. See you guys tomorrow. Might even do like a morning stream. We'll see. But for now, it was a blast. Happy opening day eve. I'll see all you guys tomorrow. Let's go Yankees. Let's go get a dub. Let's set the season. By this time tomorrow, will we be 1-0? I think so. Thank you, Nate. I appreciate it. I'm all good for my car crash. Hell, honestly, I think it was a blessing in disguise almost. I was telling this to my boy earlier. It's like, yo, for all I know, if I made the bus that I originally was going to make and didn't get into a car crash, some weird shit could have happened at Port Authority and I could have been dead. But it didn't. Is that a weird way to end it? I don't know. Love you all. Let's go Yankees. Opening day tomorrow. See you there. Peace.